Hi folks, welcome to the Friday Beamdog stream starring me, Phil, and Trent Oster. This is of course Trent. He's gone through some changes recently, for the better, I think. And we're here today to talk to you about Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale, Planescape Torment, Siege of Dragonspear, and Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition. So Trent, why don't you tell us a little bit about your new self?
Well, you know, that Vorpal Sassoon conditioner we were talking about last week, it just...
Bouncy, I noticed, a lot bouncier.
Maybe a little bit cursed, like just a little bit.
And I understand that it changed your name as well.
Yes, my name is Kristin now. And I've taken a bit of a step back from the CEO position. I'm getting a little more involved in the testing, because, like, I just want our games to be the best. So I'm now the QA lead.
Fewer directives, more bug fixing. That's what I like.
But yeah.
So, welcome to the show. This is Kristin. Trent is out right now. He's down at DICE with our other fearless leader, Cam. They're down there pitching things, making deals, and basically just figuring out what we're going to be doing for the next little while. So, while they're there doing that, we're here to talk about Neverwinter Nights and the Infinity Engine games. So, first off, a little bit of news here. So, we're currently in the middle of some beta tests. We're actually doing a couple beta tests, aren't we? We're doing one for the Infinity Engine 2.5 patch. And what does that cover? That's 3 games?
So that's BG1, BG2, and Icewind Dale. You can get those on Steam and the Beamdog client, so you just got to opt into them. They're both available. Yeah, they're both available now.
They are, in fact.
Yeah, sorry. And then... what's the other one that you started up, Phil?
The other one that we started on, I believe, is the tablet version of a game that we put out a couple years ago that people have been begging us to produce, and that is, in fact, Baldur's Gate, Siege of Dragonspear is coming to Android tablets and iPads. And also phones, of course.
Yes.
So what this means is that if you want to come sign up for the beta, you can come to the Beamdog beta forum, sign up, and get involved with testing out the tablet versions on both Google Play and iTunes as well. So it's coming very, very, very soon, and we invite everybody to come try it out, get a sense for what it's like. We've added a ton of enhancements to the tablet version of Siege of Dragonspear, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But first, we want to clear out some more news, and then we'll talk about Neverwinter for a little while. The other piece of news is we are hiring. We've mentioned this on a few streams, but this is a long, ongoing process. We are staffing up. We are looking for programmers and designers and people of all stripes to help us bring these games to new platforms and to build some new games that we're very, very excited about. As well, Tales from Candlekeep, Tomb of Annihilation is in the Twitch Prime Indie Amplifier. So what that means is there's this big contest where you can vote on different games that Twitch is doing. And if you vote for them on Amazon, that means that they go up in the rankings, which is really great for them. And it's really great for Dungeons & Dragons in general. So if you're a fan of D&D or if you're a fan of the Tales from Candlekeep game, head on over to Amazon and please vote in the Twitch Prime Indie Amplifier, which is a... mouthful of a title.
They should cut that down a little bit.
Oh, and one last update regarding that beta that we talked about. This is the 2.5 patch that we're testing right now. So it's going to be in beta for a bit longer so that we can keep fixing the things that you guys are reporting in the beta. But what we're going to be doing very, very soon here is we're updating it with a bunch of new languages so that foreign language people can get in, test them out, get a sense for the quality of these new translations. And then after they're happy with them, it's all included in part of the 2.5 patch. So Baldur's Gate 2, for example, has a ton of new languages coming, including simplified Chinese, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming. Baldur's Gate 1 Hungarian is going to be fixed. Currently, it's kind of broken in a few instances. There's some VO missing in Baldur's Gate 2 right now for foreign language, German VO. People have been asking for this for a long time. I'm very, very happy to say that we're finally resolving this issue. So really exciting stuff. Baldur's Gate 2 is currently only in about, I think, 4 languages. There's going to be, I think, 3 additional ones by the end.
Yes.
There's a lot of language stuff happening, so we're very excited about that. That update is coming very, very soon. You're probably going to start seeing new Loke stuff start flowing in on the 5th of March, and look forward to it. And keep giving us feedback in that beta because it's really, really important to us.
We're currently sitting at something like 400 bugs. in our list of things to do. So there's still a lot of work coming down the pipe.
If we ever get the chance, I'd love to give like a tour of the internal bug database for these games, because there's like, all right, I'm gonna break it down and jump in if I'm incorrect on any of these points.
Oh, I will.
So there's like the public bug tracker, where people can submit just anything that's wrong with any of the Infinity Engine games, and we triage those reports all the time as they come in, and we filter them to the correct thing. So internally, we have one project for each of the games. So Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale, Siege of Dragonspear, Planescape Torment. All of these games have separate bug trackers, of course, because they're separate projects and there are game-specific bugs. And then on, or rather beneath all of those, is just Infinity Engine general bugs.
The engine bucket.
Yes.
Which is terrifying and full of spiders.
In any individual game, I mean, these are staggeringly huge games that were designed with systems that have very little fail-safe protections. It's okay.
It's great.
So there's a lot of stuff in there, and some of the stuff is just wild when you actually like start uncovering and really analyzing why things are happening. So maybe one day we'll do like a best of bug list, and
I would love to do that because we have some real gems that
are there any that stick out in your mind that come up right away, or am I putting you on the spot here? It's hard, I know.
Well, there's so many. Like, I think my favorite one, which just comes up all the time in Siege, actually, on the tablet version. I think we've gotten all of them. But it's when you get your UI basically into a really bad state, and when you hit close or cancel, it starts closing the UI elements behind the pop-up dialog to the point that you can basically get to like a completely blank screen with just the gameplay in the background, and you can't do anything. And I mean, it makes for some really nice screenshots, but it makes it a little hard to play the game. Yeah. Just a little bit.
There's one bug that's come in. It's actually kind of an older bug, but to fix it is pretty far-reaching, and it's so in multiplayer, and Baldur's Gate or Infinity Engine multiplayer in general is just. I mean, I don't want to say bad things, but like, man, if you knew what it was. Anyways, it's a really funny bug. So if you're like, let's say you're the host and your language is set to English, and a friend join who's set to French, the messages that they generate for you will be in French. So like if they attack a monster, I think it reports back to you and it says, in French, so-and-so has attacked so-and-so for 5 damage or whatever. And I think that's hilarious because it's kind of like actually playing with a foreign language speaker. If you had a French person in your adventuring party, of course there are going to be language barriers.
Exactly. I think it's a feature to encourage people to learn a new language.
But, you know, that's a pretty weak shield to hide behind.
I'm going to hide behind it like a
We'll look into that one. But I don't know, sometimes bugs are funny. There was one, and I know I've told this story before, but it's still, I think it's hilarious. When we first started working on the enhanced editions for Baldur's Gate, we started with BG2 because BG2 was the most mature version of the engine, and we could just port BG1 to it. And for some reason, the sprite code was broken so that all the animations worked, and they played at the right speed and everything, but they faced the opposite direction of what they were supposed to be doing. So we boot up the game, and it's running. We're like, all right, that first opening cutscene is playing, so Irenicus is there, and he's like casting spells on you and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's time for more experience. And then the clay golem comes in to tell him about the Shadow Thieves attacking. And it moonwalks in backwards into the room, like at a sprinting pace, spins around. Master, more intruders have entered the complex. And then he spins around and he moonwalks away backward.
Why would you fix that? That's brilliant.
I was so adamant that, like, we have to keep this as a toggle because that's so good. It's basically like Michael Jackson mode. And I was shouted down.
Oh.
So.
That's... Yeah.
It's a fine line to walk between hilarious feature and very obvious bug. All right, let's give away a t-shirt.
Okay.
All right, so this is actually going to be a shorter stream today because Trent is not here to provide the energy that we need to keep going. And this isn't a mark against you, Kristin, but
I haven't had enough coffee, to be fair.
I need the straight man to reel me in. And I feel like you're going to be into letting me run around, and that's bad.
I mean, I did bring like a shock collar just in case.
That's actually cool. I had a shock. And wait, that sounds really bad. My dogs as a kid had shock collar. They had like the radio fencing, so you bury a wire on the perimeter of your property, and then they have these radio collars where if they get closer, it starts to beep. And if they get too close, then it starts to give them like a low-level buzz. And if they go over the line, then it like gives them a static shock. And it worked because like after getting zapped once, they never wore the collar again, and they never went over the line. So it was like,
yeah,
all right, maybe that shock was a bit more than we were anticipating.
Oh,
but
puppies.
you know, being a youth of high intelligence and great dexterity,
I see where this is
going.
going.
I was like, hey, I love this dog. I want to know what it's
what you just put it through.
Yeah. They have fur to help insulate from the zap. And humans have some fur, but not enough to really protect themselves. So I gave myself a really good zap. And in retrospect, it was really, really, really dumb. And it's still really dumb, but it's kind of funny now. So don't wear a dog shock collar and then shock yourself intentionally is the takeaway. I
mean, clearly it didn't do any lasting damage.
Yeah, clearly.
Probably. Mostly. Yep.
Anyways, the t-shirt winner is Wobbin. Wobbin, you win a t-shirt. Congratulations. You can clothe that body of yours for the first time in perhaps a decade. That's rude. I don't know that. That's just an assumption.
You're making
I'm playing the averages here. I'm just assuming.
Does the average person not own t-shirts? Is that...
I mean, I can only use myself as sample data. So when I say the average person, I'm really just saying me. Terry Tunes. Phil, stop that hand gesture. Which hand gesture? What are you talking about?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Anyways, let's talk about Neverwinter Nights.
Okay.
Before we run out of time on this stream just doing dumb stuff. Okay, so there's no patch this week. Patches are coming on a bi-weekly basis now. However, as mentioned in the previous streams, on Steam, we have the development branch, which is kind of our nightly updated branch. So that gets updated constantly. That means that things are going to break constantly, but it also means
it's unstable.
Yes. It also means you get the bleeding edge features and whatnot. So if you're running a server, stick to that 2-week cadence because we don't want to make you update constantly. That's just mean to you. But for people who are really interested in current development, yeah, head over to Steam, grab that branch. I think it's available on Beamdog too. In the Beamdog client, in the drop-down, you can pick.
I believe so. I'm just going to stare off camera for a confirmation. Nope,
you know, if
no
it's not true,
who knows?
It was a joke that I made up. Ha 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 ha. All right, so we pushed up the Head Start program onto Steam last week, and to great success. It's been a fantastic week for us. The workshop is bumping. The Steam.
There's so much stuff.
Oh, we're gonna go.
So
we're gonna go check that out in a minute. The workshop is incredible right now, and that Friendslist stuff is rad as hell. So for those of you who are unaware, previously Neverwinter Nights was kind of a pain in the ass to play in multiplayer with your friends.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. It subscribed to the old school model of, hey, you're going to run a server on your computer, which means that you need to open up some ports in your router so that people can connect to you, et cetera, et cetera. Back when Neverwinter was new, you know, the idea of like forwarding and having like a node in between people wasn't really a thing that game companies offered. So we've kind of taken steps to resolve that. So now you don't have to mess with your router settings. You don't need to mess with your port settings. You can literally in Steam just bring up that overlay with Shift Tab. Hey, Kristin's online, invite to game. She gets an invitation, she accepts, and she is in your game. It's so easy and beautiful. No port forwarding,
no shenanigans. It's just magical.
Because I am an adult boy, I was at a LAN party recently, and we actually got Neverwinter Nights going. And it was easy. Like, we just... Everybody downloaded it, everybody started up. Okay, I'm going to send everybody invites. Okay, we're all in. There was no fuss, no muss, and it was just a really, really good experience. We got to play just a fun little dungeon adventure, and it was a lot of fun. And that's kind of what I've been hoping that we could do with Neverwinter for a long time, is just remove the barrier of entry for people who want to play in a small group. And I know that Persistent Worlds, like there's tons of them, and they've already done all that legwork of getting a server up, getting all the ports forwarded, configuring it, et cetera, et cetera. And those are great, but you still want that experience of just playing with your buddies. So I'm very happy that on Steam we've been able to provide that. Oh yeah, and funny story, when we were testing out the Steam Friends feature for the first time, so Jonathan, the product owner for Neverwinter, was messing around in Neverwinter in an open multiplayer game, and all of a sudden one of the other developers, who just happened to be online, and he's in like Germany, this is 3 in the morning for him, and he's just like, hey, there's a game that I can see, and he clicked it and joined, and he just appeared in the game, and he's like, oh my god, it's working. And then another person who was also online but not like hanging out around here, Cam, actually, he joins in, he's like, oh my god, I see a game, and he joins. Unfortunately, they were in the middle of like fighting a dragon or something, so he logged in and just got stomped and then logged out right away. So it can be a frustrating experience, but
maybe don't send friend invites when you're in the middle of a dragon fight. Just do it somewhere safer.
So if we switch over to my desktop, how about we take a gander at the workshop? Let's see what's going on in there.
Yes, looks so cool.
I know, I'm really, really excited. So for those of you who don't know about the workshop, so it's basically a very, very, very easy way to get content or mod content into your game. So historically on Neverwinter, you would go to like Neverwinter Vault or something like that. You'd grab a module, you'd grab some hack packs, and you would manually put them into your override, make sure everything's in the right spot, and then you could load things up. With the workshop, it kind of makes that process much, much more streamlined. So you can go to the workshop, check out all these things that fans have put up. A lot of the stuff...
You guys are crazy talented.
Yeah.
Also. A
lot of the stuff is coming from Neverwinter Vault, which is great. Some of the people who made this stuff aren't around anymore, so people are trying to like get a hold of them so they can get permission to port their stuff over.
Yeah.
And the interesting side effect is that that's bringing a lot of people who left the Neverwinter modding scene like years ago back, because it's like, oh my god, there's people and there's interest and there's things happening. So here we are in the workshop, and it's kind of gotten a whole ton of stuff since last week. Really, really cool things. So do you want some portraits? Oops, there we go. You can have some portraits. This guy or gal has packaged together a whole ton of fantasy portraits, put them on the workshop. All you have to do is click subscribe, and there you go. Would you like to control your combat animations to customize them as you see fit so that you can make your dude look like a badass fencer or something like that? Which you can even control. And look at this. He's got like the down low cloud from Final Fantasy VII pose. And then you can actually like customize how you want your stance to work and all that stuff.
Timio Nishanker.
Yeah, new weapons. Look at this stuff. This is crazy.
They're so shiny.
And it's all just a button click away if you're interested. New tile sets. This is dope. Look at this.
Oh my god, that's pretty.
And the cool thing is that this is before people can even really get the game on Steam.
Yeah, this is awesome.
The way to get the game on Steam right now is you have to get it on Beamdog, and then you can get a key to get into the Steam Head Start program. We're going to be pushing up Steam sales very, very soon here. In fact, that's one of the questions we've had is Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition going to be out this year? Hell yeah, it is. We're going to be ruining your summer non-stop. It's going to be great. So that's what's going on with the workshop. I'm very, very excited about what's going to show up here. And more than just the stuff that'll be brought over from the Neverwinter Vault, because there's a lot of great stuff on there. But I think there's a lot of new things that are going to show up because we've unlocked a lot of capabilities in the engine, like all the new graphical updates that we've done.
I am so excited to see what people do with the normal mapping and the spec mapping. Like,
I also excited for that thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, we have a comment from the audience. Koryu wants to thank us for sponsoring the Edmonton Game Jam. He got his Siege of Dragonspear copy as a prize, and he says thank you. You are welcome. We are very, very happy to sponsor people at game jams and local streams and that sort of thing. We love that kind of stuff. In fact, we've done game jams here at Beamdog. Yeah.
Last year we did. We made 2 very interesting games that I think are still up on the Game Jam website.
Did Water Wizard and the Queen's Wave. The Queen's Wave was you are the Queen of England, and you are waving at the people who are on the sides of the road as your motorcade goes by, because you know, it's the Queen and that's what she's known for.
But you have to get the ideal wave. Like, it has to be perfect because she's the queen. So.
And her corgis are the scoreboard. So the happier you make her corgis with your waving, the better you're doing.
Yep.
The other one was Water Wizard, which was like a bull in a china shop simulator, but instead you're a wizard who can summon like a faucet of water. And it was a lot of fun. The objective is to run around this store, blowing all the stuff off the shelves with your water as the security guard tries to chase you. This is a little fun game.
It was more of a physics simulation than anything, but it was a lot of fun to just knock everything over.
I really wanted to do the I wanted to do like a visual novel dating simulator or something set in the Forgotten Realms. I think that would be hilarious, but the theme was water, so
it was waves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it just didn't fit, you know.
No.
But one day, I want to be able to go on a date in the Sword Coast. All right.
Who would you date?
I don't know. Minsk. He seems like he'd be a lot of fun. Just be a strong presence in your life who would protect you all the time.
Well, then you get a bonus hamster too. So.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I'm really after the pet, you know, because that's the real source of information. All right, let's give away another T-shirt because we're running this on a tighter timeline than usual. So the winner of the T-shirt is
Ghostly Looks.
Ghostly Looks.
Congrats.
That's a look that goes right through you.
Just cuts you to the bone.
We have a question from the audience about Neverwinter Nights. Are there any plans to fix the bug of the Steam friends list that prevents you from inviting a friend or joining a game that you invite them to? Yes. If there's anything wrong with the friends list, we want to fix it up for release because that's like a key feature that needs to work properly.
It's pretty important.
If you're encountering an issue like that and it's not reported, report it anyways in case we don't know about it because we desperately want the friends list feature to run very, very well.
Yeah.
Yes. Question. Phil, you spoke about doing some modding community competitions. Could that include a bounty/cash prize large enough to entice modding groups to overhaul various features of the original content? That's a better question for Trent. I think that would actually be really, really cool. But bounties and cash prizes for groups that are competing in a creative way can be problematic. So, for example, let's say two teams started up. And they were both like, we are both going to remaster this tile set. Mm-hmm. Which one gets the bounty if they both finish at the same time? Or which one gets the bounty if one is done and one is 95% done and all those people are kind of pissed off and mad? Well, we would have to give like multiple tiers. And
what happens if one of them's in Quebec? Because that's just...
Yeah, you can't do contests in Quebec. That province, man. I love Quebec.
They really don't like fun.
But you guys make it hard from a legal perspective.
A little bit.
So I like that idea. I like the idea of modding competitions and module competitions. We would just need to think a little bit more about how we structure that and properly incentivize people to be creative, but not necessarily cutthroat, I guess. That's what we would want to encourage. All right. So that's what's going on with the Neverwinter Nights. Should we talk about Siege of Dragonspear?
I would really like to.
Do we have a copy of Siege of Dragonspear kicking around somewhere? Someone's going to bring us a copy of Siege of Dragonspear, and we will start showing it to you here. But it took a while to get Siege onto tablets. We got sidetracked with a variety of different projects here and there. We did Planescape Torment in that time. We had this like a massive different things that we did.
There was also some technical limitations with, you know, getting the size of the app down to a size that Apple would actually let us, you know, do.
Turns out Baldur's Gate with Siege of Dragonspear is a rather large install size.
Yeah.
And it turns out that iOS still has some pretty small install limitations.
Yeah.
So it took a little while there. As well, we actually we wanted to implement a whole ton of improvements that we had done from Planescape Torment.
Yes.
So one of the really badass features that we introduced in PST was... you know, on the left-hand side, we added those buttons that you can press to quickly do your dialogue feedback. So in Baldur's Gate, each response that you can give in a conversation has a number associated with it. And way, way, way back in the day, you would, well, on PC, I guess, you would have a keyboard
3 years ago
with numbers that you could print. And, of course, the iPad does not have that because it is a media consumption device that is not designed for typing.
Nope.
So we added a little bar on the side that lets you easily do that again, and it's actually been a huge hit, so we're very, very happy about that. Why don't you show us what's going on? Look, it's true. We're not lying. We didn't make it up. There's actually a tablet
how that's actually going to look on the camera.
Covered in fingerprints.
I'm really sorry.
It's okay.
We were
That's
looking
what tablets
into
look like in their natural habitat.
Yeah, it really does. We were looking into streaming from the tablet, but it turns out that's kind of a rigmarole.
Yeah, believe it or not, getting live video data off of an iOS device is difficult.
It's very difficult.
But yeah, so this is actually coming to both Android and iOS. And in fact, right now, if you sign up for the Siege of Dragonspear beta, Android is way easier to get into.
Yeah.
If you want to try the beta.
There's the buttons on the side.
Look,
they're hard to
button.
see.
Well,
There's a button. It's a single button.
I
Did you?
the button.
Okay.
Did,
Well, it's gone.
I'm
it's
rude.
dead now.
Anyways, so what else did we do? The take all button on containers, that was a very often requested feature. So now you don't have to laboriously go through, pardon me, all of the slots in a pickup and pick things up. You can just get them all.
Yep.
We did the tutorial pop-up with clearer explanations of how the game actually works. This is largely for new players, but it was a huge hit with PST because Infinity Engine games, if you grew up with them, hey, they're easy to understand. But for new players who've never experienced anything like this before, good Lord, these games are extremely
they're a little hard to get into.
PC games, PC gaming, folks.
Yes.
All right. Story mode, we fixed up story mode quite a bit. There were some issues with it here and there. It's smoothed out. It's a much, much better experience.
Yep. Just trying to make the tablet version a little bit friendlier for new players because they don't have you don't have the mouse that you can hover over on stuff on tablets, so it's a lot harder to kind of get an understanding on what's actually going on the UI.
We've added the Priest of Tempest kit. That's right. There's an all-new kit. You can be a Priest of Tempest, Lord of Battles. He's a pretty cool guy. I think he beat the living piss out of, what was it, Cyric? What? No.
Are you thinking of Cyric and Ball?
No. Well, maybe I am. Sorry, I went back to the Time of Troubles there for a second. I'm sorry. Anyways, plus, there's all the other fixes and features that have gone into the other 2.5 patch. So there's a lot of upgrades coming to the iOS version and the Android version. Yep. But as well, the desktop version is also going to get updated soon as part of that whole 2.5 effort. So all these new improvements are going to show up there as well. And perhaps one of the most exciting new features of the tablet edition is Brazilian Portuguese support.
I think that's in the 2.5 patch, actually. Not the tablet version, Phil.
But it's going to come eventually because it's done.
Yes, so and that's our first Siege translated language.
Yeah, so the way we translate at Beamdog is we have translation teams that are volunteers that have access to all of the game strings, and they sort of self-organize and they do these incredible translations, and they're really great. They've brought these games to languages that previously did not have them. On a previous stream, I told the story of how the Turkish language team brought these games to their language for the first time, invented all these new terms for D&D monsters and concepts, and basically made the official terms for Turkish.
Which is so cool.
Which is super cool.
So cool.
So the Brazilian Portuguese team, which is the language of choice in Brazil, I believe. Brazilian Portuguese.
Brazilian Portuguese, because it's
different
not the same.
From regular Portuguese.
It is different.
It's not the same. Although, you know, if you speak Portuguese, I'm sure there's some crossover.
There's probably some, yeah.
I'm not going to say it. I was raised with people that speak Spanish. They have comments about Portuguese, but I'm not. They have a derogatory term. I don't share it. I didn't know the difference. Anyways, so that's coming, Brazilian Portuguese. All right, so we're really, really excited about Dragonspear. It's coming extremely soon. We're going to announce the release date next week, and it's coming perhaps sooner than you would expect.
Yeah. And if you want to get it sooner, sign up for our tablet beta.
That's right, sign up for the beta. As well, that 2.5 update is coming. It's the final version of 2.5 is going to come after Siege of Dragonspear. So everything will be in sync, kind of. And we're doing these in a very specific order so that we cover all the games properly and make sure that they connect to each other. Because as you know, you can go from Baldur's Gate to Siege of Dragonspear to Baldur's Gate 2. So the order that we fix these things up is important.
Yeah.
So we don't interrupt people's games.
And the plan is to get everybody back to a version where everybody can play multiplayer together again, which has been broken for a while.
So we're going to give away one final T-shirt, and then we're going to answer a few questions, and then we're going to cut it. The stream's going to end a little bit early today. So the winner of the final T-shirt for today is Templar Drake. Templar Drake, you win a shirt. All right, questions from the audience. Are the next Siege of Dragonspear and Infinity Engine betas installable on an external SD card? No, but actually yesterday we triaged an issue around that specific issue of, hey, wouldn't it be nice if you could install our games to an SD card? So we're actually working on that right now. I don't think it's going to make it into 2.5 necessarily, but we are looking at this issue for you. Next question. Is there a chance you might re-implement the moonwalking clay golem as a mod?
That
Listen,
sounds
man,
like a feature request.
Scott was the one that did it. I don't know how he did it. If you could convince him to redo it, send him treats. Send Scott like a cool 6-pack of beer or something. And maybe he'll do it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Another
that would
question.
be incredible.
Is it actually running on the tablet, or is it VNC TeamViewer? This might have been a sarcastic question, but you know, it's also a very valid question.
This was actually just running. I don't know how to show that it's just running.
I can prove it because TeamViewer cannot refresh fast enough. I've been spending weeks trying to figure out if out there somewhere in the world there is a desktop forwarding service that does 60 FPS without horrifying compression. Because like I want to be able to forward my desktop at home over a local network, and you can't really easily do it. You could do like Steam desktop forwarding or like NVIDIA desktop forwarding, but they don't really gracefully handle resolution changes that well, and they compress text to garbage. So this is what I'm struggling with. This has nothing to do with work or the topics that we should be discussing. This is just me bitching out loud about the current state of desktop forwarding. Question.
It's not very good.
Will Siege of Dragon Spear be released on tablets only or phones and tablets? So it's going to be released on phones as well. So all of the same platforms that Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale, and Planescape Torment run on will run Siege. However, we have raised the system requirements.
Yes.
Because Siege, and this is entirely my fault. Like,
100%.
I'm broadcasting this to the universe, 100% me. The big crowd scenes that destroy your CPU because all of those AI scripts are running were my fault. I have reasons for why it's my fault. I had a good reason at the time. Let's not get into it.
And they're also, on the iOS side, they are 64-bit only.
Yes,
so
that's true.
we had to, this wasn't really our choice, I don't think. This was Apple, but...
Yeah, if you have an iPad 2, oh, sorry guys, it's time. I tried to make it happen, but there's just too many sections where the performance suffered a lot. And ironically, like if this were a fully 3D game, the requirements might have been a little bit lower, but because of the way that BG works with like massive images and like transparent videos, again, my fault.
That bridge, man. With
that sweet feature of transparent WebMs that make awesome looking rivers that just
so good.
Murder your battery and CPU. Again, send all that hate to me. All right, one final question, and then we're going to wrap it for today. Would Beamdog make a game of their own from scratch? Not a remake of another game, but an isometric game of your own with your own IP.
That'd be pretty cool.
Well, we had some ideas for some games. We threw together some pitches. You know, I'm sure we would be very interested in that. But I can't really tell you about the game that we're working on because it is, of course, titled